Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Bowman here, and today we're continuing our playthrough of Planescape Torment. And we're going to be doing some more side quests here in the Clerk's Ward Festhall. So yeah, let's continue. This squat, hunched old man still has the broad shoulders and scarred, calloused hands of a worker or a warrior. An aura of weary despair seems to hang about him. He appears to be giving a lecture at the moment. Right, now listen up. This is the seminar of the war. If you're to listen about the blood war, take root. If you're not, then you're in the wrong, and you'd best umpersoft, comfort living, Silicon Lumberins out of here. The blood war? More boring than listening to a governor recite laws. Let's find some young sensates who would need to be indoctrinated in the way of passion. He waggles eyebrows in anticipation. Ignore Mort, keep listening. The man suddenly throws a dark eye over the audience as if looking for something. And further, if you're a Tanari or a Betsu, yump your scaly eyes out the door. It's not letting you ordinary bastards bend an ear to this and listen to your barmy arguments. Because this is no discussion who's right. Behind you, you hear the sounds of something large leaving the lecture hall. It just tells the blood war from the human point of view. It's not promoting one side or the other because they both stink in different ways. The speaker becomes somber. So what's left of you want to listen to some blood war stories, tales about the war, or to hear of the horror? And all, no doubt, the floating fortress wove and weaved in human skin, the plains wide battlegrounds, the blood war to be fought on. He bars his yellow teeth, tales of fiends locking fangs with other fiends. Gar, snar, his face fades, and then he looks suddenly bored. Let me peel back your lids and crack your bone boxes. 'Tis all a stemmin' heap of barmy nonsense to be dwellin' on the forged dung. He spits in desertion, rolling his eyes wildly. I'll tell ye this, though, you can't imagine to scale the blood war is fought on. Nothing you've seen, heard, or participated in. Nothing compares. Time, numbers of legions, sheer bloodshed, nothing compares, Burks. To try and imagine it, forget it. My advice, simple. Stay away from the big bloody mess altogether. The only thing you need to know is this. Fiends are killing fiends. Betsu are slaughtering Tanari. Tanari are butchering Betsu. Right now, he spits again. Neither winning. Don't think either can win. Biggest stalemate this side of eternity. Thank the powers. That is it, he shrugs. That's it. I'll be answering any questions you got for me now. What's your question, Cutter? How does one survive the blood war? You want to know how to survive the blood war? 3 things, Cutter. He holds up a maimed hand with only 2 fingers. First off, you stay the pike out of it. Secondly, keep yourself piking elves out of it. And lastly, you stay the bloody piking sot pike out of it. If any part of the war rolls your way, let your imagination give you a bum a kick and run as fast as you can. If you can't run, then lies really still and praying it passes by. He pauses for a moment. So there's no place it don't touch, and there's almost nowhere you can run to get away from it. If there's nowhere to run, why aren't there fiends fighting in Sigil? Ah, now Cutter, look. They have fought here a few times. Sometimes we get a little spillover from the blood war. A lady of pain, bless her still red heart, puts out the fires. Stone at a time, he sneers. There's been times some horrifying drizzling on yourself, you saw it in scare times, when they smashed and burned clawed their way through the whole sodden city blocks in Sigil, before she decides to clean house. He clicks his tongue and winks cynically. So she ain't always as keen on hopping the blood war as it might seem. Why don't the fiends just take Sigil? He laughs, but it turns into a sputtering cough. Don't get me wrong now, both the Tanari and the Betsu want Sigil fierce. 'Tis the most precious staging ground in the Piken multiverse. The cage in the city and the doors and its concepts everywhere. You can't ignore it if you're serving in the blood war and you want to win, you gotta have it. The man coughs again. 'Tis just fiends aren't gonna get it. Well, the lady's in charge, 'tis all. She's tough as nails, and her blades will cut you deeper than any fiend's fangs, and that's not fiend stems. Like, you wouldn't believe. One quiet lady, her hands tucked in her sleeves, holding back her blood war all by herself. He laughs bitterly. I have no idea what I'm saying with this guy. I don't find it hard to believe that a woman can stop the blood war. But fiends are still allowed in Sigil. Oh, Dan will be certain. They can't brawl in the streets too much, so as neutral ground, Sigil allows them to rattle their bone boxes without trying to murder each other. Sometimes they'll chit-chat up with each other. The peace don't stay that way for long, though. Also, just because they can't butcher each other in the streets don't mean spies, recruitment, and backstabbing still don't go on. They fight battles with lies and words, Burke. Sometimes 'tis all the bluster and blather, and there's safe houses about it too, places where they can cool their talons before the next skirmish. And they like to recruit here too, looking for boys fresh off the plains with a little greed in their hearts that they can make part of their glorious army. He stops speaking to peer close at you. Mayhap they recruited you once, huh, Cutter? Look like you've tasted the war. Perhaps. The war leaves a scarred one, Cutter, you know, and you'd never want to go back. Your temples begin to throb painfully as you consider the man's words. A memory begins to surface. The lecture hall begins to fade from view as terrible visions begin to seep up from the base of your mind. Visions of a place where seasons are like nothing you've ever felt or heard or tried to shut out. A place where prayers go unheard, falling like stones to the earth. Vein-colored lightning flashes across the things that were once sky, but now boil beneath your feet and scream when you brush against them. You run at the head of a large band of men, passing through dark canyons where the walls quiver mostly and beat like a heart, wearing only your own blood as clothing. At last you stand in a place where the ashy gray terrain slithers like a mass of snakes, coiling around your ankles and whispering your evil to the earth. You march endlessly, silently through this colorless land where fatigue seems to live and hunt you like a shade over the waste, whipping you with despair. In time, you and the ragged men who follow you come upon a hag sitting upon a mounded, gigantic writhing larvae, poking at you with one of the slime-covered things with a broken talon. You indicate for one of the men to run forward and speak with her. The hag's grating voice carries to your ears. I would speak with him, she said, then cackled. Her eyes gleam as she points you out to the man, the handsome one that lends your ragged column. I would speak with him, and that is all you can recall. Cutter, you feeling all right there? Yes, I'm fine. So, do fiends recruit here often? He nods grimly. You can be sure of that. Sigil's the best source of fodder on the plains. Beast milk and planets, all their prime inhabitants. Too much work. I have no more questions. Right, this is the last bit then. Some of you sensates, so I've got one thing to say to you. Don't sign up to see what the Pike and Blood War is about. Don't be a blarming idiot. Use a sensory stone if you gets to know, but stay as away from anything to do with the Blood War. 'Tis not worth it. 'Tis for a moment a great pain crosses the man's face. It looks as if he's going to weep. Not worth it at all. 'Tis the end of the sensation of this session. So farewell. Sigilians, welcome. Please take your seats and listen to the darks of which I speak. Darks, give me a break. We're really not going to listen to this rattle trap, are we? Come on, let's go find some sensate shits that have never had the pleasurous sensation of tasting the fiery passion of a skull's lips. Quiet down, Mort. We're staying for a while at least. He begins speaking with a somber tone. Death. It is what awaits you at the end of life's journey. He coughs slightly, then raises his eyebrows dramatically, waving his hand at the same time. Death is not an end, but a beginning. Mort whispers, beginning of more suffering. For when you die, you shall not cease to exist. No, far from it. The outer planes shall welcome you in their breasts. There, a new life, one such as you've never known, awaits you there. That's for sure. You shall cast away the tattered cloak of all this life and become one of the faithful, a petitioner. As a petitioner on this outer plane, your life's journey shall truly begin. If you have been a godly sort of gentleman, steadfast in charity and goodwill towards your fellow bloods, perhaps the light blanket slopes of Mount Celestia shall house you when you die. Your spirit shall pass on to this place, dwelling as a petitioner in the beauty of golden morning, soft sunlight that caresses, and eternal boredom. Perhaps you lived your life to betray others and get ahead, giving lies instead of truths, backstabbing others, all to accomplish your own goals. Cold, blood-red Circe Ciceri, the plane where all turncoats fall when they pass on, shall be the cage that imprisons you. As a petitioner on this plane, you shall live a long life of treachery and treacheries of lies, lying, and knowing a life without trust. Looks like we know where we both are going to end up when we die. He hunches over, his eyes dart back and forth. And perhaps you have lived a life of bloodthirsty evil, contemptuous of your fellow man, laying others low and doing as you pleased without a care for who or what you hurt. Then it is perhaps one of the lower planes, Bator, or the chaotic swirling layers of the abyss, that shall welcome you. Evil to the core are the spirits that come to this plane, and most are doomed to mindless cruelty and suffering or servitude in the dreaded, he whispers dramatically, blood war. And that's if you're lucky. No matter where you go, know this, you shall be embarking on a new life, my Syllogens. And that's supposed to be an incentive? We get to do this all again. Gee, I can't wait to be a floating skull all over again. Wee, pike him. What a tart, spoken just like someone who hasn't died before, eh? You shall be able to start anew without the burden of memory or your past life. Your sole goal, if you will, he smiles at his own humor, is to merge with this new plane that you are on, becoming one with the ideals and very substance of the plane itself. You shall be one of the inhabitants, the petitioners on this plane, or ideally one of the building blocks upon which the plane is built. It is the goal of our petitioners to accomplish this goal. He clasps his hands together for emphasis. Must clap. Hold clap. To clap your ideals. Oh. Must hold to your ideals. Oh, this is one big steam load. Your ideals, good or evil, law or chaos, or somewhere in between. As you approach the alignment of the plane, your journey will end as you become part of the plane itself. It is a glorious existence, my Sigillians. And that is what awaits you after death, my audience. Have a care as how you live your life, but know that it is not oblivion that awaits you after this life. What wash? The speaker heads turned to face Mort, frowning slightly. He limbs out, trying to see who spoke. A question? A question from one of the living, perhaps. Mort ducks below the lecturer's field of view, then turns to you and whispers, Go ahead, Chief. Tell him the dark of it. Yes, I have a question. What if someone can't die? He laughs. Nonsense. Everyone dies. Friend, even gods die. I can't die. Oh, truly, look, everyone, a rare treat. One of the great immortals has graced us with his presence. Greeting, O immortal. The audience laughs. I can prove it. Oh, do. There's more laughter from the audience. What sport? Take heed, my audience. I think we shall have a rare display of my lecture today. Come up here, O immortal, and we shall see who is right and who is dead. The speaker turns white at this, taking a step back. By the powers. I think it's only fair that you prove your point now. The audience watches in morbid fascination. Well now. Go on, die, here, now. Prove your words to be true. Embrace your life as a petitioner. He gulps now. He offers weakly. I must confess that I'm not quite ready to depart this life yet. So this great new life in the outer planes may not be all it's supposed to be? The speaker is aware of his hypocrisy, but is afraid of the alternative. Perhaps not. He glances quickly at the audience. Well, certainly not now. That's what I thought. I have no more questions. He looks eager to wrap things up. Then I shall end this session. I shall continue to lecture here at the hall, so tell your friends. Thin and sharp-featured, his yellow skin covered with tattoos, this man looks over the room and its inhabitants with cold black eyes. He appears to be giving a lecture. I am known as Three Planes Aligned, Githrazi Scholar. If you are here for my lecture, it begins in a few moments. Come on, Chief, are we really going to stay for this? Just be quiet, Mort. I want to listen, just for now. He speaks in a very low, somber tone. Today I shall speak of the powers of alignment and belief and how they shape the planes. First, I shall explain the concept of alignment. Alignment, it is a descriptor of one's beliefs and how one acts upon those beliefs. At their core, all creatures predominantly behave in one of three ways: with good in their heart, with evil in their heart, or indifference or neutrality in their heart. They predominantly express each of these core behaviors in one of three different ways: in an ordered manner, in a chaotic manner, or in a different, neutral manner. Thus there are 9 core alignments that one is capable of. The 9 alignments, then, are lawful good, neutral good, and chaotic good, lawful neutral, true neutral, and chaotic neutral, and lawful evil, and chaotic evil. Now I shall speak of the power of alignment and the beliefs in engenders of how from them and varied deities gain strength and how belief can physically affect one's environments. A deity must have worshippers, for it is the faith of such subjects which gives them power, as converts are made and more come to believe in a god and more power that God receives. Conversely, when no one believes in a deity, it withers and dies, joining the corpses of other gods that float on the astral plane. It is thus possible to slay a deity by simply forgetting about them. A such more striking example of the power of alignment and belief, however, can be seen within the sliding of gate towns. First I thought I would define gate towns. Gate towns are towns on the outlands, the largely neutral area which sigil spins over the center of. They are called gate towns because they are built around a permanent gate, a portal, or to one of the outer planes. Each of these outer planes has its own alignment. The Abyss is chaotic and evil, Bator is lawful and evil, Mechanus is lawful and neutral, Mount Celestia is lawful and good. The outlands again are true neutral, leaning to either law or chaos. Sliding occurs when there is a high concentration of a belief in an area of different belief. When this occurs, the area itself will move or slide to a plane that matches the new belief. Now the gate towns usually have a strong belief that matches the outer plane beyond the portal, but the belief is not yet strong enough from the town to slide from the outlands into the outer plane. For example, the town of Ribcage borders the portal to the lawful evil plane of Bator. As expected, the residents of Ribcage are largely lawful evil residents, but the entire town's alignment and beliefs are not strong enough so that Ribcage will slide in Bator. For example, Ribcage might one day see the sunrise of a lawful evil order of clerics, promoting their dark beliefs and converting many citizens to the worship of their lawful evil god. Were this to occur, there would be a good chance that the town would slide off the neutral outlands, becoming part of the lawful evil plane of Bator. Whole layers of planes may move this way, thus many wars are wars of belief and faith by necessity. They are the tools by which territory is obtained and held. This, then, is the power of alignment and belief to shape the planes. This session has ended. May belief guide your actions and shape your planes and will. Farewell to you all. The short, balding man's orange tunic and rather sizable gut give him the look of walking pumpkin. He is absent-minded, patting his large paunch with a slow rhythm as if it were a drum. The man's odd, crooked smile and strange gleam in his eyes make him look a bit mad. Greetings. The man gives an exaggerated, flourishing bow and presents a small card which reads only Jumbo Murder Sense. Exiosect Exorcerer Extraordinaire. He then snatches the card from you and grasps and proceeds to eat it, grinning wildly all the while. Somewhere in Asylum is one Barmy Short. I'd like you to remove Reekwind's curse. Jumbo pretends not to hear you, instead belching loudly and resuming his belly drumming, his eyes wandering around the Festhall. Remove his curse, Jumbo, before I'm forced to hurt you. Jumbo raises one eyebrow and takes a step back. He opens his mouth abruptly, and though his lips or throat don't move to shape any words or sound, a torrent of incomprehensible babbling begins to pour forth.
Updated my journal.
What the? Jumbo shuts his mouth, and the babbling ceases. He peers at you through narrowed eyes, a self-satisfied smile on his pudgy face. Suddenly you hiccup, and hiccup, and hiccup, and hiccup again. Jumbo Murdersense merely turns his head and waves you away. Look like you just got a curse thrown on you, down on you, Chief. What have you done to me, Jumbo? You're a master of curses. Perhaps you could help me. Help you? Doubtful. Before you can respond, he sighs, shaking his head. Well, perhaps I could. What troubles you, then? Jumbo Murdersense cursed me. Jumbo Murdersense? Ha! That sputtering mooncalf could never best me. Oh, the battles we used to have, though. Celebes frowns. But I'm past all that now. No longer my sort of thing. You see, I don't really know what I could do for you. After this, it's his curse. Not the sort you would find in an item or some such, you know. that you could remove with simple magics, he'll have to remove it, and willingly. Well, could you teach me a curse, and I could use it on him? Well, I don't normally do that. I could keep my curses to myself, and besides, even a single curse would take one of a long while to learn, more time than I'd care to be spent on it. Perhaps you're just worried your curses aren't good enough to best him anymore. You what? All of the ridiculous... Now look here, you knuckle-dragging Sakaskar. Celebesh the Onyx is the master of curses, and there's no other. Why, I could give you but a single phrase that would render the nincompoop's cursing wholly impotent. Teach it to me, then. No. I've simply no desire to do it. Celebesh looks directly into your eyes. Now kindly drop the subject, sir, before you begin to annoy me. I could pay you for your trouble. No, I've simply no desires to do it. He looks... Perhaps you're just worried. Looks skeptical. That's it, you've made me do it. He utters a short string of impossible syllables, words of power, which you note mentally for later use against Jumble. There, see what that does to him, and tell me Celebesh the Onyx isn't the master of curses.
My journal.
Jumble frowns at your appearance, bending his thumb in your direction and waving you away. Throw the curse Celebesh has taught you at him. Jumble stares at you with a somewhat skeptical expression as you speak the arcane syllables of Celebesh's curse. After a moment of awkward silence, the Exectosec mage notes that nothing seems to have happened, and an evil grin spreads across his face. He opens his mouth to retaliate with another curse of his own, only to realize he has no voice. Celebesh's curse has removed Jumble's ability to speak, thereby destroying the Exosec's ability to curse others. He clutches at his throat, panic welling up in his eyes. Looks like the tables have turned, Jumble. What do you think will happen when anyone you've ever cursed finds out you can't speak or curse anymore? Jumble drops to his knees, a pleading expression in his eyes. He looks ready to burst into tears. Will you remove the curse you placed on me and swear never to curse another who didn't mean you harm? Jumble places his hands over his heart and nods vigorously. Very well, I'll remove the curse then.
My journal.
Jumble sighs in relief as you remove Celebesh's curse from him. He in turn removes his own, and your hiccups finally stop. He then bows humbly and casts his eyes upon the floor. I'd like you to take your curse off Reekwind as well.
Updated my journal.
Jumble nods, pouting, and with a wave of his hand removes Reekwind's curse. Thanks. Farewell, Jumble. Okay. Let's return to Reekwind quickly. I think he's... Okay, he's in the marketplace. You see Reekwind. His eyes have reverted to their normal size, and he is no longer assailed by the twitching spasms that you noticed before. He is smiling, and he looks considerably cleaner than before. Greetings, Reekwind. I have some questions for you. He looks at you amazed. It stopped. It all stopped. Just like that. He snaps his fingers, then looks down on himself. Powers above. He laughs. I feel clean again. Good to hear it. Jumble didn't want to remove the curse, but I got it out of him. I thank you, sir. He looks flustered. I have nothing to pay you with, but you are in my good graces, he shrugs. For whatever that is worth, he frowns and stands straight. I will tell you the story of your kindness to all who will listen. Thanks, I was happy to help. Very well, what should I call you? My name is... He suddenly catches himself in his mouth. No, perhaps I shall keep that to myself this time. He nods respectively to you. Thank you again, good sir. Farewell. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we shall end this episode here. I'm not sure quite how many side quests we have left to do in the Clerk's Ward. But anyway, we'll try and finish those up on the next episode. So thank you very much for joining me on this playthrough of Planescape Torment. As always, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe down below, and we'll see you all in the next one.